I call the member for Capalaba for his question.
Thank you. Minister, many people know my story and how I fought for victims' rights because my family and I fell through the cracks. Could you please outline how the Christopher government is ensuring that victims' voices are not only heard, but that victims are supported in an effective manner as they navigate the justice system, and provide the committee with an update on youth offending?
Call the Minister.
I thank the member for his question, and I want to acknowledge what the member has been through. I want to acknowledge his journey into this House, and I want to thank him for the voice that he has given this House in relation to victims of crime. I know the member's advocacy before he put his hand up to run for the seat of Capalaba in relation to the laws that we now have in this state. The member galvanised his own personal trauma so that he could ensure that other victims didn't go through what he went through to see adult crime, adult time law in this state. And so I'm pleased to be able to update and provide the committee with some information on the way that the Christopher government is supporting victims of crime. We've committed in excess of $458 million over 5 years to be able to support victims of crime in this state. The first of those initiatives is our Victim Advocate Service. The member referenced in his question how he and his family fell through the cracks, how you didn't get the support that you needed as a victim of crime. Our professional Victims Advocate Service is designed to ensure that no victim falls through the cracks. Our professional Victims Advocate Service, which is $50 million to deliver a nation-leading Victims Advocate Service, a one-stop shop for victims of crime to support them throughout the whole justice process. It will be nation-leading, it will be the first, and it's being delivered as a result of the advocacy of victims like yourself, member for Capalaba. So that Victim Advocate Service is currently in the design phase. We have conducted a number of consultations in relation to that design phase, both with victims, with commissioners across the nation, and with stakeholders in the victim support area. The project, it was launched at a stakeholder roundtable by the Premier and myself on the 12th of February. A roundtable on the 8th of March was held with all of the national commissioners and Queensland commissioners, and of course 2 regional consultations on that service have happened as well, one in Townsville and one in Cairns. And those consultation sessions are happening because we want to make sure that the Victim Advocate Service delivers for victims. We want to make sure that no victim is left behind. One of the other aspects that we're doing, member, in relation to victim support is, of course, our community response for victims of crime. The budget provides $12.9 million to roll out our community response for victims of crime and make that statewide. That means when horrific crimes happen in communities, there is a community response that can be rolled out statewide to support that community. Communities like Yamanto, Toowoomba, Bundaberg and Warana. They're the communities that have received this community response so far. And a third measure, member, under our budget is, of course, the money to activate the Victims Register in relation to youth offenders. This is around the opt-out provision, so improvements to the Victims Register to make it easier for victims to get updates about the custody status of youth offenders who have committed violent crimes, and there is money in the budget to be able to deliver that. There is $2.6 million to be able to establish the Youth Justice Victims Register. And the member also asked for an update on youth offending, Mr. Speaker, so I just wanted to briefly give that update as well. So early indicators show, since our adult crime, adult time laws, that there has been a decrease in the types of offences that are adult crime, adult time. So from the 13th of December 2024 to the 31st of June 2025, when compared to that same period last year, there has been a 31% drop in the number of proven adult crime, adult time offences. There's been a 38% drop in stolen cars, a 35% drop in burglaries, a 25% drop in robberies, a 25% drop in break-ins, a 23% drop in dangerous driving, and 17.5% fewer serious repeat offenders. We promised we would reduce victim numbers, and it's pleasing to see the Police Minister release some data today to be able to give that to Queenslanders, to see that there's been a 5.7% fall in victims across the state in the first 6 months of 2025 compared with the first 6 months of last year.
I go to the member for Capalaba for his question.
Thank you. Minister, you have mentioned the Staying on Track program earlier. Can you please provide more detail and advise further when these programs will be delivered?
Call the Minister.
Yeah, I thank the member for the question. And of course, Staying on Track, our budget has $225 million over 5 years to be able to deliver the Staying on Track program. And of course, the first of those providers has been announced. Life Without Barriers is the first program, and they will deliver an intensive 12-month post-detention rehabilitation program for youth offenders in the Gold Coast region to be able to put them back on track. So Life Without Barriers will implement a service model aligned with the risk, needs and responsiveness framework. Intervention is tailored to the level of risk of offending and individual characteristics and learning styles in order to reduce recidivism. Our Staying on Track program is all about breaking that cycle of crime, ensuring that youth that are in our detention centres are given a shot at turning their lives around. The reports that were released by the Queensland Child Family Commissioner demonstrated that 12 months is needed to be able to effect that change. We know that under the previous Labor government, youth in our detention centres, the serious offenders, were only given 72 hours of a support plan. And even then, the Auditor General called out that many of those youth weren't receiving a 72-hour plan at all. That is setting up those youth to fail, releasing those youth straight back into our communities without any support, without any plan, sets them up to fail and sets our communities up for more victims. So Staying on Track will restore rehabilitation and deliver 12 months of rehabilitation support to youth, integrating back into communities to avoid them falling back into a cycle of crime. Every plan will be tailored to the youth offender and designed to help them prepare for a productive future in employment and community with tasks including schooling or TAFE, driving lessons, professional mentoring, volunteering, sports and extracurricular. Staying on Track will work hand in hand with Adult Crime, Adult Time, which will restore consequences for action and deter crime by sentencing youth offenders to adult time for serious offences and then providing them with the rehabilitation support they need through Staying on Track.
Thank you. Minister, can you please inform the committee how Queensland Corrective Services is working to restore safety where you live as part of the Christopher government's Making Queensland Safer plan, and outline some of the achievements our frontline corrective services staff?
Call the Minister.
I thank the member for the question, and I thank the member for Capalaba for his interest. I know community safety is also something that he has been advocating for and is something that he knows is critical to be able to restore safety where you live to our communities. And of course, Queensland Corrective Services plays a critical role in delivering on that commitment. Our 9,109 officers, from community corrections to custodial corrections, are central to this, managing prisoners and officers, reducing reoffending and supporting victims of crime. And since we came to government, we have wasted no time backing our QCS officers with the resources, the infrastructure and the support needed to do their jobs safely and effectively. As part of the 25-26 budget, we are delivering $2.387 billion to rapidly boost bed capacity at Townsville Correctional Centre and Arthur Gorrie Correctional Centre, $87.9 million to operationalise the new low custody beds and fund the 94 officers the former government failed to fund or provide, $216.9 million in critical infrastructure improvements from emergency lighting to electronic security, $25 million to roll out electronic monitoring of high-risk domestic and family violence offenders, offenders, $2.6 million to expand support for victims of crime through the QCS Victims Register, and $30.5 million to save 90 jobs supporting the Parole Board Queensland. We are delivering on our commitment to review the Parole Board Queensland with Mr Peter Hasty KC leading an independent victim-centric review. We're also delivering for the QCS workforce. My ministerial charter letter focuses on staff safety and wellbeing. That's why we've fast-tracked the Lockyer Valley Correctional Centre. That's why we've already seen 844 new officers graduate from the QCS Academy since we came to government, and when we trained over 1,000 new custodial correctional officers and community correctional case managers by the end of the year. And I want to thank the member for asking about some of the achievements of our frontline officers, because I want to thank them for their exemplary service. Our officers work in some of the most challenging environments in the public sector, and when they are supervising dangerous prisoners, managing high-risk offenders, and in the community responding to complex incidences or working to rehabilitate offenders, they execute their jobs with professionalism, with purpose and with pride. It has been a great honour of mine to meet so many of our fantastic officers while visiting correctional centres and community correctional officers around the state and at our award ceremonies. People like Acting Chief Superintendent Megan Crosley, who was awarded leadership in custodial operations. People like Superintendent Colin Martin for his commitment to operational excellence and innovation. Cultural Liaison Officer Beck Field for her advocacy for First Nations communities. Correctional Manager Michael Kanecki, I'm sorry Michael, I think I pronounced your last name wrong, whose program at Lotus Glen is changing outcomes for incarcerated veterans. Superintendent Hannah Walton, who's known for her adaptability. Tanya Guild, whose work embedding the culture and leadership program has left a lasting impact across the agency. And Monique from the Parole Board for being a transformational leader. These are some of the awards that our QCS officers have received. Dr. Melanie Mitchell for her leadership in countering violent extremism and supporting complex caseload across QCS and QPS. Ronnie Little, whose 24 years of service at Townsville Correctional Centre are marked by professionalism with a deep respect from her peers. And Genevieve Collis for her outstanding performance and dedication to supporting victims of crime through the QCS Victims Register. And of course, I'm leaving someone out of this, Commissioner Paul Stewart, for his 40+ years of experience across QPS and QCS and his commitment to supporting staff wellbeing, driving reform and delivering a safer Queensland. These are just a few of the examples of officers in our corrective services going above and beyond and doing extraordinary things in difficult circumstances. I'm extremely proud of the work they do and feel extremely privileged and humbled to be part of that and to be at some of their award ceremonies to present some of those awards.
Thank you.